This is a Fox 54 News special presentation. Huntsville Boom.
Hey there, I'm Julia Smith, and thanks for joining us for our Huntsville Boom special. Over the next 30 minutes, we will look at the growth happening across the Tennessee Valley and the impact, both good and bad, that's happening on our daily life. Let's begin with the rapid growth in Madison County as more homes and buildings go up by the day. Huntsville is now the largest city in the state and is attracting some of the best and brightest from STEM to manufacturing. However, who works at these jobs? Who fills these new homes? Fox News reporter Kenesha Dees has a look at the people who live, work, and play in the Rocket City.
Here's the sights and sounds of what you can expect in Huntsville. Meet Arnold Corbin, aka Bert. This is his band, Kush.
It's a Caribbean-centered band, and people seem to love the music, the genre, so we do a lot of reggae and soca music.
Corbin retired after serving as a librarian for Alabama A&M University for about 30 years. He's originally from...
I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. Here we are landlocked. There's not a beach in 300 miles maybe, and but yet this music makes it here. It's a reflection of the community. Both the community coming in, bringing this music in, and the existing community accepting this music and making it their own.
First Baptist Church on Governor's Drive is where people from multiple countries are enrolled in ESL, or English as a second language class.
I'm from Japan.
Mazda Toyota Manufacturing brought Yuko and her husband to Huntsville.
My husband works for a car company in Japan, and the company made a new plant here, and he is working there now.
ESL teacher Tara DeBose Schmidt has seen the changes.
I've been volunteering for a long time, and I've noticed that the ethnic makeup changes. When I first came 20 years ago, we had a large population of Arabians. Not so many now. Sometimes we'll have lots of Hispanics, not necessarily just Mexican Hispanics, but from other countries. Currently, we have lots of Japanese students and Korean students brought here with Toyota and LG. When the program was started in 1968, it was Germans who were here with the Arsenal that had been brought over. And we've just continued that with Research Park and other aspects of our industry and what kind of things we have going on here in Huntsville. You just have to drive down Jordan Lane to see one of every kind of ethnic restaurant you can imagine.
We know food brings everyone together, and on this stretch of Jordan Lane from Sparkman Drive on down to I-565, if you want Vietnamese food, you can find it. If you want Korean or Indian food, it's here too.
I am from Ecuador.
Carolina and her husband both moved from Ecuador to Huntsville 3 years ago.
Huntsville is a beautiful place. It's a quiet city, and the people are very friendly.
Marriage also brought newcomer Shima.
I'm from Iran. I came to Huntsville 8 months ago with marriage.
So the culture is the people are here, the culture is following, and I think that it's going to continue to thrive, and that's what I hope to see.
In Huntsville, Kenesha Dees, Fox 54 News.
The Rocket City has some pretty cool attractions, none more magnetic than the various sports that come to town. And with these events come heavy foot traffic. Our Jonah Corp found that sports tourism has helped our local economy tremendously.
North Alabama has grown into a hot spot and, quite frankly, a melting pot for sports. From gymnastics to beach volleyball to curling, the Rocket City has made one thing clear. If you've got a sport, we want it.
Whether it's swimming, whether it's water polo, gymnastics, people know about Huntsville, they know our venues, and they want to bring their championships here.
Huntsville, City of Champions. At least, this is where they go to get crowned.
We had the Southeast Collegiate Hockey Championship a few weeks ago.
A club hockey championship that produced some pretty significant dollar figures.
So with SEC hockey, we were looking at a $250,000 economic impact. And then you look at gymnastics, and we've got people coming from all over the country for the gymnastics event, and that pushes up to close to a $500,000 economic impact.
And we're just scratching the surface of the events that have drawn crowds this year.
We had a great year. Last year we had over $32 million of economic impact. We had the Running Lane National Championship, Cross Country National Championship here at John Hunt Park. Beach volleyball is always a cool attraction. So many people can't believe that Huntsville has a beach volleyball complex here in inland in the city.
Perhaps a little bit of foreshadowing of what to expect this year. But tack on a few more sports to the list. I mean, just looking at next month.
Yeah, we're going to have huge economic impact this year. Just alone in April, we have Paralympic cycling, we have the Corn Ferry Golf Tournament event, Huntsville Championship. We'll have 3 conference beach volleyball championships. In a couple weeks, we'll be hosting the 5 and under curling tournament, and that's a really cool event. You've seen it on the Olympics, but actually see it up close and personal, it's so neat. I've always wanted to be one of the sweeper guys, and so I'm really excited about that.
Just some of the upcoming events. The big highlight, the U.S. Paralympic Cycling Open that arrives in 3 weeks. Also be on the lookout for lots of volleyball in the month of April.
You can go anywhere to start a business, Atlanta, Nashville, even right here in Huntsville, but there's a lot of land across the country filled with much smaller yet great cities, like the city of Decatur, Alabama, for example. Our Nixon Norman spoke with local business owner there about what exactly draws them and their business to the city of Decatur.
Every place you've ever been has some kind of history attached to it. Most of the time, this history goes back for generations. So let's look into some of the history of Decatur, Alabama, and what draws small businesses to this city, starting with the Princess Theater.
When this building was built, where the theater is now, it was a livery stable. So we're talking horse and buggy days, late 1800s. 1887 is actually when this building was built. But back in the 70s, I think you remember malls came in and people moved to the suburbs, and a lot of those malls were indoor experiences, and they had actually theaters within those walls. And that kind of became a trend across the United States, not just here in Alabama, not just here in Decatur. And there were 5 movie theaters here in Decatur at one time, all within the downtown area. This is the only one that survived. And now things are moving back, I think, to downtowns. People like to shop local, they like to eat local, and they like to come see their plays in a place that they're supporting the local economy. So when our marquee's on, it's kind of a barometer for the economic vitality of this area.
But talk of history doesn't stop at these places. The real history lies within the people of those places, like Carrington Kelly, owner of the Sassy Owl Boutique.
My parents had a small store when I was growing up, and so I'd go to market with my mom, and I just fell in love with it then. So I grew up, you know, behind the counter and doing all the fun small business stuff then, and then, you know, of course now I have to do all the hard parts. But yes, I think it probably just ran in the family.
Not only have generations of families been those to run business locally, generations of families have also been served by these business owners. Cindy Kelly, for example, has cut generation after generation of hair.
Actually, we're doing, gosh, generations. I mean, I've got kids that I've watched grow up and bring their own kids in. But when they bring their grandkids in, it's when I retire.
For many, working with your family may seem like a nightmare, but not for the spouse to family. Working together is just another form of therapy.
He built these cabinets. He built those showcases. He built all my shelving that we have here. He did so much that it was fun. We did it together. It was a husband and wife and a son item. So it was, and it was good therapy with my son. He was in the Navy and had a head injury, and he couldn't work. So this was something else that we filled in real good. So it, you know, there was reasons why we stayed the way we did.
So as the years have come and gone, the history and memories of this city do not fade.
It's really interesting to hear people who come who are older than my dad even, and who come and say, I got my first kiss in this theater.
And all thanks to local businesses here in Decatur, Alabama. Nixon Norman, Fox 54 News.
The Huntsville boom means more and more opportunities for jobs, plus the struggle to find reasonably priced rentals when we return.
From Fox 54 News, Huntsville Boom continues.
Huntsville is growing at a rapid rate with more than 200,000 people living in the Rocket City. Large corporations are bringing in diverse groups of people, making for a richer community. Ayanna Willoughby tells us more.
Many people are concerned that the Rocket City will lose its small town feel as bigger corporations settle down in Huntsville. But the Huntsville-Madison County Chamber of Commerce says this isn't anything to stress over. The growth and attention we've seen is a benefit to the community.
So we're really excited to see Huntsville continue to grow and just to see our region continue to attract new business here, but also, our existing businesses are also continuing to expand here.
And new businesses mean more economic growth. Huntsville is attracting a lot of talented people, and this is something that locals should be proud of.
And then on top of that, we've got a great community that people want to be in and want to live in.
And so many people want to live in Huntsville that it's been named the fastest growing city in Alabama, and there are plenty of jobs to go around, so the next hill to tackle is affordable housing.
You're seeing home prices increase across the country, so Huntsville's not unique from that standpoint. You have a lot of different issues that play into that, whether it's been supply chain issues that have been impacted by the pandemic or otherwise, but we also are attracting new people to our region and to our community. And one of those pieces is the cost of living. It makes it an attractive place to be. And so again, it's an area of ongoing focus to make sure that we're paying attention to.
In Huntsville, Ayanna Willoughby, Fox 54 News.
Let's face it, the search to live here in the Rocket City is tough right about now. With Huntsville's considered the Silicon Valley of the South, builders say they need 5,000 new homes a year to keep up with the demand. Kenesha Dees gives us a little more insight on the demand.
Julia, if you think it's tough for future homeowners, imagine renters. The need for affordability and accessibility is also in demand. Builders say they have 10,000 permits to build apartments. And I spoke with a realtor who says supply chain, COVID, and Huntsville, now the largest city, is a recipe for this aggressive search. Check it out.
The search is on for a home for both renters and homeowners alike.
When you have a property that goes up for sale and you have 3 to 12 people who want to purchase that property, the people who don't win in the bidding war have to live somewhere. And so that is cascaded into the rental market like never before.
Associate broker for Keller Williams Realty, Nakia Dollar, says there's something else to pay attention to in the rental market.
While there's a bidding war in sales, because of fair housing, there's not that in the rental market. The price is typically set and first come, first serve. Property managers can't pick and choose between applications. They go in chronological order.
Dollar says the cost of rentals are high.
We're seeing that prices for rentals have risen just as much as purchases.
Whereas 3 years ago, Dollar says the rate for rent would be significantly lower.
It would have not been challenging to find a house to rent for $750 a month. Now, that same property would rent for closer to $1,000.
But here are some tips for you if you're searching for a place to rent or own. First, plan ahead.
If you have an opportunity to plan and strategize your move, start planning now.
Also, find a home that suits your lifestyle.
If it's important to you to be close to city activities or closer to the mountains, like all those things are things you want to consider because, it's called work-life balance.
Definitely wishing folks out there a happy home and apartment hunting. And there's more tips. Just head on over to fox54.com. Over to you, Julia.
Thanks, Kenesha. The booming growth of Huntsville is spreading to communities outside of Madison County. We will travel to Arab next. Plus, one major road gets a green light for expansion when we return.
From Fox 54 News, Huntsville Boom continues.
In recent years, the Rocket City has seen an immense amount of growth with more jobs, more people, and more homes. City officials and developers say they have a strategy up their sleeves to accommodate the boom in Huntsville. Kenesha Dees has the story.
The Rocket City is
is now the largest in the state with 215,000 residents and counting. Real estate developers
Everything is Southern historic architecture.
and city leaders say they've been very strategic with the city's growth.
As we brought in business, as we brought in jobs, we would grow, and we would grow our infrastructure at the same time that we grew the jobs.
Village of Providence.
As part of that strategy, Bridge Street is part of that strategy. We've added apartments and hotels in Bridge Street so that we can have that urban city-style living.
It's an all-encompassing neighborhood that, just over the last, 15 plus years has just grown to be this destination that, we wanted to create from day one.
The developer's latest project, 2020 at Providence.
Will consist of 360 apartments with 20,000 square feet of ground floor retail and a 7-story parking deck as well. And we currently have leases signed on about 90% of the retail space.
In 2 years, all of this you see behind me will be this. Developers say in addition to this project, Village of Providence is about $1 billion investment. Mayor Battle also says the infrastructure being built for this city is about the same, $1 billion.
Right now we're in the process of building another $300 million worth of roads, and over the next 10 years we have another $400 million worth of road plans on the books. So when you look at it over a 10-year period, we're going to put $1 billion into roads in the Huntsville area, and those roads are made to accommodate the growth. Those roads are made so that we can continue to grow.
With all of this space, questions about parking and traffic naturally come up. Developers for 2020 at Providence say the 7-story parking deck will accommodate more than 700 vehicles for residents and shoppers.
And, it will service both existing and future parking.
Developers say Highway 72 to the north and Old Capshaw and the Old Monrovia area on the south are a few of the ways to get in and out of this area. But developers say more access is in the works.
There will be another connection going out further to the west of the City of Huntsville plans that basically goes out towards the Jeff Road side. So there's really multiple entrances and exits in the village that are both there now and or planned for the future.
In Huntsville, Kenesha Dees, Fox 54 News.
Arab came about in the late 1800s, and while there's still a very historic downtown scene there, the small town has really blossomed into a place where you can eat, shop, and even play. Our Nixon Norman has more.
Julia, Arab is an interesting little town where you can feel the history that lives there while also experiencing the growth that is currently taking place there. Let's take a look at some of the ways Arab has changed over the years. Arab, Alabama, a town born in 1892. And like many places, Arab is constantly changing, just like the Farmers Exchange, which started out as a focal point of commerce during the early years of the small town. The Farmers Exchange is now the Flower Exchange.
This is the heart of the city. This brings the life to the city.
The retail store has been there for 20 years now, but the history of this place goes way back, bringing memories with it.
Lots of people come here and bring memories to lots of people, lots of visitors over the different states or different counties, and say, oh, I remember when my grandfather bring me here, and I remember the chickens, we come and buy seeds, so I have RC Coke and a moon pie.
Just down the block at Four Nights Coffee, this idea of revamping history into something anew continues.
So we really wanted to see not only a coffee shop, a place where people could get good coffee, but a place where people could hang out. They can have birthday parties, come here on dates, study, do their homework.
This young and hip coffee shop has been able to thrive in this very historic downtown since 2018.
I mean, it's amazing. I tell people every day that Huntsville gets a little closer to Arab, and Arab grows a little every day. And what's cool is not only do we have the 12 to 15-year-olds that hang out. Their parents drop them off here. But I even have, like for example, we have a group of old men that come in. Very sweet. They hang out. They have their little friend group meeting. So it's all ages are here. And I think that's amazing for our community, just to have a place where literally everyone is welcome.
And the success of this coffee shop speaks to the overall growth of the town itself.
Our goal has been ARAB, and I think that most of the people in ARAB know about us. We have a huge following from the high schools, from all the church groups, and we're even seeing people come from further and further. We have people who come from Decatur and Coleman. I have a very sweet lady that tells me all the time that she drives an hour away. So not only is that something for our community, that we're getting bigger, we're bringing in more people, but it's people are driving for us, and that's a huge compliment.
Nixon Norman, Fox 54 News.
Big changes are underway for a major state road in Huntsville. The city secured state funding to widen Governor's Drive. Mayor Tommy Battle and city officials say it's crucial for commuters during rush hour. Kanisha Dees caught up with the leaders and has the story.
A normal day on Governor's Drive means
it's bumper to bumper all the way from California many times back to the Parkway.
And in the near future, city leaders will change this. It's all thanks to more than $1.3 million secured to widen about a third of a mile of Governor's Drive's eastbound lane through California Street. State Representative Rex Reynolds and Senator Arthur Orr worked with Mayor Tommy Battle to make it happen.
This will ease the traffic coming from Guntersville, Hampton Cove, coming into town, leading through the medical district. And the medical district is key to us right now at all times, especially during these COVID times. There's a lot of traffic comes into the medical district. Most of your emergency management traffic comes in through there. So this will help us with all that.
It'll help the district I represent as well as up toward Montesano Mountain, because late in the afternoons, 3:30, 4 o'clock on, you've got traffic going east, and there's a lot of congestion because of all these cars wanting to get to eastern part of Governor's Drive on up to the mountain all at the same time. It's a great road project.
Mayor Battle said the timeline for completing this widening project could take from 12 to 24 months.
I think the most important thing to realize is this is just the first of many. We will be going after funds for many projects over the next 10 years, and those projects will keep us ahead.
In Huntsville, Kanisha Dees, Fox 54 News.
You know, I've only been in Huntsville since last June, and I can say since last June, I've seen this city double. And I can't imagine to see where we will be in the next 5 to 10 years. And we thank you so much for staying with us as we continue to bring you the stories of the growth of the place we call home. Thanks for watching our Huntsville Boom special. Remember, you can always find us on our website, fox54.com. We'll see you next time.